Thank you for taking the time, right? This lovely morning to be here. For me, I represent the Ideal Venture Studio. So we are a venture studio based in Taipei, right? We focus on venture building, and actually this year more on Southeast Asia expansion. And we do have a very nice space where we house about 70 companies and teams right there. So for us, we are backed by a family office. So we do have a family fund that we are interested in investment and anyone who is, up for fundraising. So before I start, let me introduce myself. I'm actually from Singapore. So I spent actually quite a lot of time in Taiwan, Hong Kong, in China. So for me, my background is in computer science from the National University of Singapore. And I also graduated from Fudan Daxue in Shanghai. So for me, I have actually spent a lot of years outside of Singapore and actually around in Southeast Asia. So my expertise are in technology first, right? And my passion is in fintech. So, but I've done things in energy, renewable energy, in solar, supply chain financing in Hong Kong. I have my first startup as a startup founder as well. And I do run Curves. It's a US fitness chain brand. I run it in Taiwan, which is very successful. Sold the chain, and currently actually running it in Indonesia. I've got about 60 gyms in Indonesia right now. So I've actually done quite a number of things in the last 15 years. So right now for us, we do have a venture studio established here right now in Taipei. So we love to look for interesting teams that, irregardless of industries, countries, if they're interested to enter the Taiwanese market, we're here to help you. And at the same time, because we do have a lot of resources, whether with corporations, governments, universities, businesses out there. So we are essentially a market maker in a sense that, and if there are great teams with an interesting idea, right, taking into the Taiwan market, right, we're interested to invest and to really supercharge you along the way. So for us, we love to collab with teams. We like to create value, and we like to build a lot of connections. And we do have a fund that we can invest. So in short, what we do is we turn visions and ideas into reality. So Ideal is actually backed by Hosing Group. It's a family office based in Taiwan with over 70 years of experience. We started from manufacturing fabric OEM, wedding gowns, suit, pants, like for Armani, Vera Wang, and stuff like that. And over time, we have diversified into quite a number of industries. So currently, we do have like Paul, which is a French bakery chain. So we own the Paul franchise here in Taiwan. We also run the Land Rover and Jaguar dealerships here in Taiwan. We are also the owners of the W Hotel here in Taipei. We are real estate developers first, and we also invest a lot in biotech, new drug discovery, medical equipment, and right now more focus in agriculture tech as well. So we've done quite a number of things here in Taiwan and expanding quite a bit. Right now, we have exposure in Thailand with 30 years of real estate experience, and also entering the Malaysian market with real estate first, and everything else will come in later. Yeah, so this is our venture studio here in Taipei, right? So we do have quite a number of things. So we've got private offices, meeting rooms, and it's just a spot for a lot of companies and startups to be located in. So we actually essentially we built this to house a lot of the interesting teams that we are looking to invest in. So apart from just physical space, right, we help a lot of foreign companies actually set up and soft land into Taiwan. So from the entity setup to bank account, visa, or any kind of legal application. If you need a license for importing alcohol or anything like that, right? So we can help you out with that. So we got accounting services, IP services, and at the same time, because there's a lot of different teams across different stages here in Taiwan, we do help them out with their investments, making sense of the fundraising round that they're raising right now, the valuation, equity disbursement. We help them with design, even app development sometimes. So we do have a really huge variety of community partners here in Taiwan. So from banking partners and relationships, we are great partners with most of the VCs and investment partners here in Taiwan and around Asia. We do have a lot of university partners as well. So we sign a lot of MOUs with them. So there's a lot of areas where we could collaborate with universities, licensed technologies as well. And very importantly is our professional service partners like EY and also like E11, right? And in Taiwan, you find a lot of innovation and investment agencies, right? And usually backed by government. So these are the key players here in Taiwan that forms the startup ecosystem. So there's a lot of startup communities here in Taiwan as well. And we're really proud of our community that we've built here at IDEAL. So we got about 70 teams across like ESG, sustainability, AI, innovation, sports, health, education, mobility, biotech, farming, and also professional services. So anyone could be part of a studio, and I'm very happy to invite and host anyone here if you're looking to enter the Taiwanese market. And with that, now that I've introduced myself and who I represent, today I think you guys will be more interested in understanding like how do you set up an entity or to enter the Taiwanese market. So I'll give you some insights today, like why Taiwan, right? So obviously I would say because of bubble tea, I think bubble tea is invented really by Taiwanese. And you find bubble tea stores almost at every corners of the street, right? But and I think as everyone knows, Taiwan, the major economy here, it's still semiconductor, and it has been that way ever since. But slowly, we've seen that it's actually moving towards a lot of high-tech industry with technology, AI, and still very much focused on semiconductor. So I think there's a lot of great technical pool here in Taiwan. And if you're looking to have like a POC or to mass produce any hardware equipment, this is a really good market. And right now, Taiwan is very welcoming to foreign investment. And you are able to set up an entity which is 100% foreign owned, all right? And we can help you out with that. In a sense, I think what Taiwan provides is actually a very cost-effective place, right? Where the cost of manpower is actually really lower compared to the major cities in the region, compared to Singapore, compared to Hong Kong, to Tokyo. So cost of manpower it's relatively low and with a very high quality of manpower here. And overall, it's a very stable economy. There's a good rule of law. There's a very great workforce here. And eventually, if you ever make a move, a shift, right, to living and working in Taiwan, just like myself, I've been here for the last 10 years. I think you enjoy a relatively high quality of living and costs are significantly lower compared to major cities in Asia. So to give you an overview about the trends and startup trends in Taiwan, currently there's a lot of VCs has been established. So you got like traditional VCs, you got CVCs, you got a lot of angel clubs, and a lot of government initiatives and fundings. And that has led to an increase in a lot of global entrepreneurs actually coming to Taiwan and trying to take in something that is different, right, to disrupt the local market. And Taiwan traditionally has been well known for its manufacturing capabilities. So there's a lot of OEM and manufacturing stuff here in Taiwan. So slowly and surely, there's actually a huge shift to digital services. So in the past, you would find there's a lot of hardware engineers, but today there's a lot of software engineers and AI engineers as well. So I think it's a really good market to test if you're looking to enter the Northern Asian market or the Japanese market, right? So I think Taiwan is a great test bed where it's like literally an East meets West, right? Kind of market. And I think infrastructure, it's ready, right? Internet access is great, access to electricity, everything is great. The user base or your target audiences, right? Or your potential customers here in Taiwan, they are very open to new technologies, and everyone is very relevant today. So they are up to date using the latest software, latest services, And I think this has transformed, right, the locals' consumer habits, and it's creating a huge opportunities for international teams to actually to use Taiwan as a proof of concept market, right, before expanding throughout rest of Asia. So Taiwan isn't a very big market, so to speak, but it's usually segmented into like northern Taiwan, central Taiwan, eastern and southern Taiwan. So where I'm based, I'm in the capital, which is Taipei City, right? Which is where most of the high tech and fintech companies are based. Where there's this thing called the Nehu and Nangang Science Park, where you get a lot of high tech companies, where they're all located in that region of Taipei. And as you progress southwards, there's actually each segment of Taiwan has its own specialty. So for example, in the central Taiwan, you get to see there's a lot of focus on agriculture, productions, right? Machineries, textile industries, it's really, really big, and it's still really big right now. And as you go south, right, towards the southern of Taiwan, you'll see there's a lot of actually agriculture, fishery, farming, and that's where a lot of focus are. And this is due to actually, just climate, right? The southern part of Taiwan is, right, much hotter, sunlight is better. And even when in the past when I was doing solar, so most of my solar assets are located in the central and southern of Taiwan. So the eastern side of Taiwan, it's more well known for tourism. And also it's a huge attraction for digital nomads because it's a great place for surfing. It's more cultural, it's more laid back. So in the northern of Taiwan, it's like any capital, it's busy, and most resources are located here in Taipei City. So northern Taiwan, a lot of focus in medical, information, consumer technology, which 70% of startups, accelerators, and VCs are located here right now. Central of Taiwan, it's more about machinery, hardware manufacturing, components, bicycle manufacturing, glass manufacturing, vehicle manufacturing. And in southern part, it's also a lot of hardware base, right? So most of the action actually happens in the north, right? And in recent years, there's been quite a few great exits from Taiwan. So Appier is a company focusing on AI. So they have listed in the Tokyo Stock Exchange in 2021. Just Kitchen is like a cloud kitchen company, right? That started in Taiwan. And I think it's really big because food is really big here in Taiwan. Gogoro, it's a very famous company here. They're talking about electric scooters, and the most important thing about them is they developed a battery swapping technology. So you'll find Gogoro everywhere on the street, right? And 91 app, it's like a Shopify or Wix, right? So there's a lot of people who are trying to do e-commerce selling on online. So 91 app is a big company here in Taiwan. And for most of you guys, right, who are looking to really enter the Taiwan market, right, visa would usually be the biggest issue for you guys. But I'm happy to say that, right, Taiwan has introduced this Taiwan Gold Card program, which it functions like an open visa for you to actually come to Taiwan without the need for employment, and you can stay up for 1 to 3 years, right? So you get to enjoy, right, the benefits of a long-term visa without having to have an employer trying to sponsor your work permit here, right? So this is something that IDEO has worked really hard, and we're now a partner of the Taiwan Gold Card. So we have actually helped a lot of foreigners apply for the Gold Card here in Taiwan. So this is something that is very attractive right now. And this is an initiative by the Taiwanese government to attract foreign talents into Taiwan, because previously getting a work permit is notoriously difficult here in Taiwan. And currently there's tons of government supports, right? So, whether it's incentive, grants, entrepreneur visa, Taiwan Gold Card program. So if you do in the end set up a Taiwanese entity, right, there are a lot of grants out there which would cover R&D. You could cover branding, design, marketing. So they pay up like a dollar for dollar matching scheme, or they'll give you up to like 30K, 40K, 60K US in terms of grants for you to do R&D. And obviously there are KPIs to meet, right? So there's a lot of different regional central government grants prizes that are available for different startups here and different growth stages here in Taiwan. So for us, right? So if you're interested in coming to Taiwan, setting up an entity is usually a very confusing process. But for most foreign investors, something is on their mind, right? Is that you are able to own an entity up to 100% in terms of shares. And the process takes approximately 2 to 3 months. And the time will vary based on, the required documentation, the country of those investors, and it's up to the approval of the investment committee here based in Taiwan. So, and I think this is something that I would really emphasize is that, if you're doing business in Taiwan, it's advisable for you to have a local entity, because most of the local companies here, they would love to only sign contract with a local entity, because that is sort of a safeguard for them, right? So setting up an entity here in Taiwan, right, there are different structures. So there could be a branch, subsidiary, or representative office. So there are different kinds of structures here, and we will help you understand the best structure for you, and we help you to mitigate the issues of double taxation, withholding tax, and also to help you qualify for local subsidies and grants, right? And in Taiwan, there's something very unique about the market and company structure, right? Which I would later emphasize a bit more, right? So there's this thing called responsible person. I mean, in 普通话 it's like 负责人, right? So there's this concept of 负责人 here in Taiwan, which I'll talk about in a bit, right? So before the launch of the Taiwan Gold Card, right, a lot of foreigners, when they enter Taiwan, right, they are looking to to actually attain a working visa. So they will always ask, what's the recommended paid up capital in Taiwan for the the CEO or the founders who actually get a working visa. So it's approximately about 18,000 US, right, of paid up capital, and that's only issued for one foreign responsible person, right? And if you're looking to get multiple visas for foreign employees, right, you need to put about 180K US, right? So I think currently this rule is still in play. However, there is a concept, there's a program where the Taiwan Gold Card comes in. So we actually help a lot of foreign teams who are looking to relocate different employees from different parts of the world, so they could apply for a Gold Card and they can be in Taiwan without the need for putting up a really high paid up capital, right? So the concept of a responsible person, it means ultimately it's the person that he or she, right, is to be responsible for the entire running, upkeeping of the company, right? So this person is extremely important. You need to be in person, right, when you're opening a bank account, when you're signing something, and this person bears the legal liability of the business, right, where it differs from the usual concept of like a private limited, right, limited liability. So from where I come from, right, in Singapore or in Hong Kong, right, usually it's liability is up to the company, right? You usually unable to sue up to the directors or shareholder level. But in Taiwan, right, being the responsible person, you're liable for every single thing, right? That's why it's a term called 负责人, right? So this is the person that the government will goes after if taxes are owed, payroll or anything, right, that is not paid up, right? So that's something. And in Taiwan, there's this thing called company stamps, right? So usually there is this thing called a big stamp and a small stamp, so 大小章, right? So this essentially means the representation of the entire company. So anyone who holds these two stamps could sign off on anything, right? Going to a bank, signing any legal document, this is like legal tender, right? So this represents everything. So it's extremely important to safeguard. Having these two stamps is a pain in the butt as well for me, right? Usually we just sign off and it's done. So this is something that it's a big issue here in Taiwan. And there's even an art to the way you stamp documents, right? So giving you guys a good breakdown on the different structures here in Taiwan, right? So there is a representative office. Well, it's, you are unable to generate revenue. So it just, a representative office, right? So it's a place where you could incur costs but not generate revenue. Or you could have a branch office of a foreign entity, right? Or if you're looking to set up, a Taiwanese entity limited by shares or a limited company, that is also possible. So, the details are quite a bit, but, we are here to help you, guide you along the way. So most of our foreign clients, when they enter Taiwan, they would actually set up a 股份有限公司, means the company limited by shares, right? Because if they are looking for local shareholders, right, that is a good way to move forward. So, to give you a timeline, right, usually it takes, 2 to 3 months, depending on the quality of documents that are being submitted to the government, right? So we actually can help you with the entire process, right? So this is a good example of what it takes to actually set up an entity here in Taiwan. So we got this whole process locked in, so we can help you guys with that, right? So we do provide the soft lending services from, bank account, local address, office, IP, taxation, payroll services. And these are all the little things that actually to get people up and running really, really fast. And, just last week, we recently set up a company for someone who just came back from the States, right? He wanted to set up a local entity. So we help him to make sense of, the local rules and all the different fine prints, right, along the way. And we are backed by a lot of partners, right? So we have our partners from Eternity Law Firm. So they're our lawyers in residence. So they actually help with a lot of different things in Taiwan. David, he used to be a shareholder in my startup, right? So someone that I really, really trust, previously from PwC in Taiwan and Japan. So he speaks English, Chinese, and Japanese. And our CPA partners, his courses are really, really great. So these are all startup-friendly courses, startup-friendly people. They understand and they can help you with, all your needs along the way. So this is our accountant. And we also have an IP lawyer that we work very closely with. So if you're looking to set up a local IP here in Taiwan, regardless if it's a design or technology, they can help you. So we help a lot of teams here in Taiwan make sense of that. So time required usually 6 to 12 weeks. We help you out. Process straightforward, not very flexible, and language is always an issue for foreign companies coming into Taiwan because every single thing here is in local Chinese and it's in traditional Chinese, right? So there are a lot of documents that are very localized, and we help you to make sense of that. And also sharing a little bit more about opening a bank account. So bank account opening in Taiwan is extremely difficult, and usually it is done through relationships. So for us, we have great relationships with all the banks. So this is something that we will actually help you with, taking you to the bank, being there in person to represent you, and basically sit back, relax, and enjoy a very private banking experience from us. So we help you open up every single thing. And in Taiwan, there are 3 different states of banks. So they're state-owned banks, very old school. But if you're able to do business with them, means you are recognized, you have trust in Taiwan. And we have the private-owned banks, right? The tier 1 banks in Taiwan, and foreign banks, which probably you guys are more familiar with, like HSBC, Citibank. But take note, having let's say having a standard Chartered Bank, right, account in any parts of the world is not going to help you with opening an account here in Taiwan because it functions totally separate, right? So a lot of people do have that misconception that oh, I have a HSBC account in Hong Kong that will actually help me in Taiwan, and that is not the case. So we will help you with that, right? Key considerations. Usually, if you hold a US passport, it's very strict. You're subjected to more forms to fill up, like FACTA and CRS. So, and also to take note that a lot of the banking apps here in Taiwan are not English ready. User interface isn't that good. Banking staff, not everyone speaks English, right? So that's something that you need to be prepared. And we always advocate, right? It's preferred to have a relationship with the banks, someone that could help you out along the way, right? So that's something that we are here to help you with, right? So preparation for payroll and taxes. To give you a breakdown, for corporate tax, it's a 20%, right, flat. And VAT here, value added tax in Taiwan across the board is like 5%. And I'll talk to you a bit more about payroll in the next slide, right? So imagine a scenario, right? You hire someone here in Taiwan, right? Let's say you hire them for a monthly wage of 1,000 US, right? So expect to pay, from the company point of view, an additional 300 US. And this goes into the national security, which is encompasses of the national health insurance, right? Labor insurance, and also the retirement fund, which is a pension fund. So these are the top up that the employer has to put in, right? Apart from the monthly wages that you pay. So salary comparison here in Taiwan, it's pretty lower compared to anywhere else in major cities, right? So I think you'll find that it's more cost effective to hire here in Taiwan. Wages here are not exactly really high, depending on the roles that you have been hiring. So if you're familiar with Hong Kong, so usually if I hire one person in Hong Kong, I can hire about 2 to 3 person here in Taiwan. So that's sort of a comparison. And definitely not compared to salaries in Tokyo or Singapore, right? That's really expensive, right? So with that, I would quickly go into the second part of my presentation, right, today with the sharing, which is about Southeast Asia, which is where I come from, and that's where a lot of companies in Taiwan today are actually expanding towards, right? So Southeast Asia, right? It's made up of 11 or 10 extremely diverse markets and countries, right? It's very diverse, but very similar in a few ways, right? So for me, I am familiar and I've done business in Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, the Philippines. So those countries that I mentioned, right, are the more matured markets right now in Southeast Asia. And it comes with its own advantages and disadvantages, right? So giving an overview, it's a very promising market, right? It's a very big economy as a whole, right? Population is increasing, very young population. The population are always consuming new things. So, but very fragmented and very mysterious sometimes, right? So, and the fragmentation happens in the sense of languages, right? There are more than 1,000 languages across different Southeast Asian countries. And with languages, it comes with, a very big and huge mix of culture, religion, races. And, it's a population that is growing. And you can think about, even education level, access to infrastructure, access to knowledge, right? These are very diverse across different countries, different cities, right? Income levels there's a huge gap in terms of income levels, right? So, but that again, right? If you look at Southeast Asia as a whole, it's a very big economy right now and still growing, and that's why it's you see that it's attracting a lot of investments, a lot of companies trying to expand into Southeast Asia, right? So in Southeast Asia, we have ASEAN, right, which is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And this is great because in the sense that if you do business in Southeast Asia, usually there is the free trade agreement. So, and often, right, I would recommend setting up your Asia Pacific hub or Southeast Asian hub, right, in Singapore, which a lot of teams actually do, right? Singapore it's a global city, right? Rules of law, banking, access to facilities, financial facilities, it's all there. VCs are there, funds are there, everyone is there. So it's a great place to be in, and it's a great place to be your holding company for the rest of Southeast Asia markets, right? So that's something that, I usually advocate. So, the question today, right, that, when I do hold this seminar, or like when I do this service here in Taiwan, right, people are talking Southeast Asia, but which city, which country in Southeast Asia, and how do you decide, and where to start, right? That's something that, I would like everyone here today, right, to really put at the back of your mind, right? Because, the key factors for considerations, it's, financials, first and foremost, that's the number one thing, right? Right? It determines what you have to spend, right? And the amount that you have to spend, where to spend, when to spend, right? The strategies that you're going to take to enter, every different market, it's going to be very different, because I expanded my company across Southeast Asia. Certain markets, huge win, certain markets, total failure, right? I've learned a lot along the way. Culture, religion, it's very, very important. So, like, because of the issues of language and culture, right, I've learned a lot of languages along the way. So, like, I do speak English, 普通话, a little bit of Cantonese. I speak like Taiwanese, they call it Hokkien here. I speak Thai and Bahasa as well. So, I picked up these languages along the way because of the need for me to understand local culture and practices. And that actually opens a lot of doors if I'm working with local people. So you need to understand the ecosystem maturity, right, of each different markets and cities, and to determine if it's ready for you to enter, right? So you might be ready for the market, but the market isn't ready for you. So with understanding of local practices, cultures, it brings local partners, which is really important, right, for communication. It opens doors to a lot of resources, and it helps you to really navigate, right, the often confusing Southeast Asian markets, right? So there's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of backdoors, there's a lot of things that knowing the right people in the right places actually helps you really, really well, right? And you also need to understand your target audience, right? So, and this is something that I like to advocate quite a bit, is that you need to know who you're targeting, who are the people in Southeast Asia that you're selling to, regardless if it's a business, a consumer, or to the government, right? You need to understand, and you need to understand the content and message they care about, right? So that's really, really important. And for example, I think all of you have heard of Uber, right? So Uber is a big company. They entered Southeast Asia and Singapore across. And so if you're familiar with Grab, it's a big unicorn company, right? That started from, providing the same services as Uber. And today you see that they do like Uber Eats, Food Panda, Deliveroo, food delivery services. They have a banking license. They have a payment app. It's a super app today, right? So something like a Weixin or Alibaba, right? In China. So Uber actually lost the market to Grab, right? And the reason why it's the concept of going hyper local. So Grab is very successful at beating Uber because of its strong local presence here, and its strong focus in local markets, right? So that's something that it's a big reality check, right, for a lot of even unicorn companies from the States who is trying to enter Southeast Asia, right? And you do get to see a lot of copycat ideas here in Southeast Asia, but usually the homegrown brands would win because they understand locals really well, and locals would love to support locally founded apps as well. And the biggest reason that Grab do win is that they do have rewards. And I mean, being Asians or in Southeast Asia, we love rewards. We love points. We love free stuff, right? A lot of discounts. So let's be honest, people love rewards, right? And this is a huge reason why they have a huge retention of clients and users, right? And talking about the complexity of fragmented markets, right? With 11 countries, differences, similarities, differences in values, beliefs, religion, political system, even, right? So let's say in most recently in Thailand, right? So because we are developing properties in Thailand, so the issue of politics in Thailand is a very tricky one, and it's very worrying for foreign investors, right? So you've seen like the prime minister coming down, the daughter of Thaksin being back in power, right? There's so much to understand, so much to learn. There's and the king of Thailand always has the ultimate powers, and he has the majority stake in a lot of a lot of land, a lot of companies in Thailand. So we're talking about just Southeast Asia. Stability in political system, it's very important because it's going to affect interest rates, going to affect rules of law, tax, every single thing. So things might just change overnight. So it's important to talk about timing and to be sensitive to topics, right, that's happening on a day-to-day basis. So for me, right, I'm up to date on what's happening every day in different countries in Southeast Asia because we have business there. So you need to be very aware, and also important for people doing business in locally in Southeast Asia. There are things that you should ask and things that you should not be asking, things you should do and not do, right? And most of the time, it's great to have a local partner that would actually help you navigate this different rules locally. Religion in Southeast Asia is big. You see a lot of majority in Buddhism, Islam, Hinduism, Christianity, and even Catholics, right? So that would means, right, to give you context, right? So I have businesses in Indonesia. So for me, I have to actually start thinking on one thing, which is the prayers, the room for praying, right? So that's something that doesn't happen in my home market, right? But in Indonesia, I have to actually reserve a room for my staff or my clients to actually to conduct their their daily prayers in. So this is something that you have not considered if you're not in the local market, right? And because of different religions, you experience there's a lot of different festivals, local traditions, and holidays. Let's say in Thailand, right, it's notoriously crazy for a number of holidays they have. So there are holidays for religion, holidays for the kings, for the royal families, and that would actually affect a lot of your marketing plans. It will affect a lot of the ways that if you are working with international teams, right? There's a lot of things that you need to be considered here in Thailand. So religious sensitivity, right, is an important factors that even big companies like New Balance, right, they suffered from it, right? So in Malaysia, majority are Muslim, and even New Balance, right, in 2023, right, the shoes, they actually contain pigskin lining, right? But the labels are not correctly labeled, right? And because of that, they got fined in Malaysia. They got a huge warning. The shoes and stores had to be closed for a certain amount of time. So these are things that even big brands like New Balance, right? With so many years of experience in Asia, things that slip their mind, right? So these things are very, very sensitive, right? And this would incur public outcry, right? And the governments and authorities will be forced to shut you down, right? Just to cater to the masses. So these are things that I like to showcase, right? So communication is different, tone, emotions, even the perception of time is very different compared to fast moving markets like Singapore, Hong Kong, right? We move really, really fast. People could move things very efficiently. But let's say in Thailand, it's things take, time takes a longer process, right? I think things move a little bit slowly, right? So for me, doing anything in Southeast Asia, I would actually have an expectation that I would factor in a longer time for a contract to be done or something to be approved, right? So these are things that would affect your decision, your expectation, your structure, and ultimately, do you actually make money, right? So these are things that you have to be, taken in right from the start, and not to be confused. Where I see a lot of foreigners coming to Taiwan or even Southeast Asia, right? They try to bring in the set of practices from their home market and try to put it in here, regardless to their own teams or to their clients or their partners, and it doesn't work, right? So as the usual saying goes, right? When in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? So talking about the demographics in Southeast Asia, it's also it's a relatively young population here, but taking into consideration, right, education level between each countries, it's very different as well. So this would actually impact, right? If you're a consumer facing app, right? Like, does your users actually understand what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do? Or if you're trying to push out, um, an education app, whether it's an AI solution, right? Those are very important, right? And you need to understand how are you reaching out to people, what kind of social media they're on, right? So these are things that will really, really impact, right? Your user growth, where you're going to reach out to people, which platform you're putting your ads on, and how do you find people, right? Those are really important factors that you need to take in, right? And also the user behavior. So we're talking about online content activities. What are the preferences? Are people watching videos? Are people listening to podcasts? This will really influence the way you reach out to people. And I think these are things that I like anyone who's trying to enter Southeast Asia to be really sensitive on, right? Facebook is really big across the world. But right now, Facebook is not very popular in Taiwan because they say, it's more reserved for like older people, right? So most of the younger generation, the Gen Zs, right, the 20 years old kids, right, or the young people, they are on Threads, right, they are on Instagram, right, they are on bulletin boards, right, local bulletin boards, like a Quora, right. So this is where they are found. So Facebook marketing isn't going to work right now too much in Taiwan. So this is an example, right? Being here, you'll be very sensitive to that, right? So there are a lot of different stats across, and each market is very, very different. And even the communication app, right, that people actually use. In Singapore, WhatsApp is big. In Malaysia, WhatsApp is big. But in Thailand and in Taiwan, we use Line, right? So Line. So Line is really, really big. So and like even in Taiwan, using LinkedIn is not popular here. So people always connect via Line. They don't really do emails. Everyone is instant messaging. So that's something that is really big here. So that's the way that you need to adapt. And understanding this will allow you to reach out to your target user base, right? Whether it's businesses or consumers. So it influences how people discover your brand. So this differs again, right, across different industries and markets, right? For where I'm from, people are usually on Google, so they will Google your company first, understand what you're trying to do. But let's say in other countries like Malaysia, right, ads are a big factor. People actually respond to ads, right? From where I come from, no one responds to ads, right? So ads are literally a waste of money. But in selected markets, ads are important, and ads could be digital ads or even right physical ads, at the subway stations, on the bus, right, at the metro stations, right? So those actually do work as well. So you get to see a lot of billboards actually in Malaysia and Thailand because people actually do respond to that and it's effective. Out of home advertisement is actually really, really effective in those countries, right? So Southeast Asia expansion, it's not easy, and it's something that we like everyone to take a moment to think about before embarking on a safe market in Southeast Asia, right? So for us, we help a lot with market entry to help you understand the strategic the decisions, what you need to do to develop, evaluate your product before expanding to new market. So you need to consider various barriers to entries, the costs of entry, and also to understand the demands of the new market, right? So we usually advocate, right, preparation before execution, because while we are able to, set up a company for you in Thailand, introduce you to people, anything like that, but we usually want, our portfolio companies or our clients to be really, really clear on their go-to-market strategies, right? And understanding that before execution. So these are some things that usually we guide our clients or teams, right, to really, really think through before saying that, oh, I'll go to Vietnam, I go to Ho Chi Minh, I'll do so and so forth, right? So we help you with the in-depth market preparation. So from your objective, entry formulation, which cities, which country, and understanding local market situation and timing of entry. So helping you with your partnership network, investment, technology, and everything about your business, right? So to identify your client is the first thing, first and foremost. Having a great product in your home market might not necessarily work in a different market in Southeast Asia. So understand your offering, your customers, your USP, your partners for selling, right? And pricing, it's a very big thing as well in Southeast Asia. So what a subscription model might work in your home market, but an own it all kind of model might be something here that works in Taiwan. So people like to actually buy it up front, then not to be on a subscription plan, right? So revenue model, it's also different across different markets. So we see teams have to adjust, right, their revenue model, right? And understanding your customers is something that I think you guys need to be really focused on before expanding into your market. So there's something that 100% we would advocate this, right? Understanding your customers, their agenda, right? Questions to us, right? Who are they? What's the customer journey, purchase behavior, right? And, having an approach where you understand who your customers are, what problems they're solving, and how you're reaching out to them, educating them. That's something that is, a lot of the entrepreneurs and founders, right? They actually do miss out on that, right? So understanding the entire market. So there's something that we help you usually with regulations, licenses, your local competitors entering a new market. So these are a lot of factors, a lot of questions that you need to ask yourself. And understanding your unique selling proposition or unique selling point in a new market, right? This is extremely important. And having a total review of your entire strategies before execution. So this is something that we do, a checklist usually to help our teams understand, right, what they have right now and the new market, and the possibility of success or failure actually depends on this, right? So our advice is to not, move things too fast, take it slow and easy sometimes, right? And do a lot of research, be ready to feel the pain, because I've did that many, many times. Yeah, and also to educate yourself. It's something that there's a news website that I would usually encourage. It's called Tech in Asia, right? So it's created by my friend in Singapore. So it's been sold to a big listed company right now. So you find all things Southeast Asia in terms of startup, entrepreneurship, industries, fundraising. So there's something that I religiously read every single day. So this is something that helps me to understand what's happening in Southeast Asia, across Southeast Asia in a single day. And usually articles are about a minute to 2 minute read, right? So it's very bite-sized and easy to understand, right? So with that, right, I'm coming to my conclusion today. So usually startup founders or any teams looking for investment, fundraising opportunities speak to us. Southeast Asia, Taiwan market expansion preparation speak to us. And well, I am very happy to have the opportunity to share, right, with everyone here that have taken the time. So, well, if you guys have any questions, happy to answer any Q&A. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you very much, Darren. I think the informations are so overwhelming. So you literally just go through all the 11 countries for us. So yeah, everyone, if you have any questions that you may want to go into deep and discuss with Darren, please, Darren, leave your contact information on the chat box so that he can email you. So we got one question from Scott. Oh, I think Scott is really interested in joining the studio. He asked, how much does this cost to join the studio? I mean, Deal Studio. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for us, it's not about revenue making, in a sense. I mean, the reason that we set up our studio, it's for investment purpose, right? So it depends on the service that you require. And usually we do not earn any money from that. So what we do is refer you to our trusted partners, and you'll be provided a quotation. Let's say if you're doing a company setup, right? So it'll be based on that. So we are open to chat with anyone. And I think, knowledge and sharing is free. So it doesn't cost anything to speak to us. And obviously, right, things that to pay for are probably, if you're using a business address or you're renting an office space, then those come with some costs, right? So it doesn't really cost to speak to us, and it really depends on your requirement, right? And what we could help you with. So basic consulting, Q&A, any questions, having a chat with us, it's free. And we are not here to ask you to pay for anything, because our aim is to function as the investment arm of our family office. And along the way, we do get a lot of teams who needs services, and what we do is that we build this ecosystem where we got every single service into Ideal, so it's function as a one-stop solution, right? And yeah, so it doesn't really cost anything to join us, right? And any quotation that you're gonna get, right, it's startup friendly, and we totally understand, right, that you are at a different stage, right? If you're at growth stage, you're not able to pay huge money, and to be honest, right, there is no point for us to be earning money from small companies, right? So our aim is to invest in small companies, and utilizing our resources to make money from the big companies, right? So that's our strategy. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, maybe Scott, you can just send your questions and any follow-up questions to me. Or okay, here have another question from Scott. Yeah, do people typically leave after 3 years go program after they establish an operation there managed by someone locally? Yeah.
Yeah, great question. It really depends, right? So most of my foreign friends do fall in love with Taiwan, right? They usually would like to extend, the visa, right? So you find them for various reasons, right? They relocated to Taiwan. It has been a great place for them in terms of costs, and also hiring people. So staying here long term is actually quite good for them. And also obviously, right, there will be people that will be leaving, and the reasons because they are unable to find a product market fit, and not being able to profit here, right? So the reasons varies, right? And pertaining to your question, right? So usually after establishing, right, they would have a local country manager, right, to represent them, right, in the local market. So they would actually also keep the visas, because having this visa and you can extend 1 year, 3 years, and having the gold card program is great, because eventually if you're looking to have a permanent residency, so the gold card is a shortcut to permanent residency here in Taiwan. So we call it the APRC. So after holding the gold card for 3 years, and obviously you need to be in Taiwan for 183 days per year, right? And if you fulfill the criteria for 3 straight years, you're eligible to apply for permanent residency, right? So this is something that would enable you to constantly move in and out of Taiwan without the need for visa application. It allows you to open a personal bank account, have a phone number here, phone account here, and also to have a credit card here in Taiwan. So those are very basic stuff, right? To have an ID here in Taiwan. So the ID opens up to a lot of services that locals would enjoy, and you would also get enjoy a local tax rate, which is like 5%, right? And you're able to enjoy the local national health insurance, right? The health insurance here in Taiwan is awesome, the best thing I've seen anywhere in the world. So yeah, as long as you're in the national health insurance program, you'll be taken care of, right? An X-ray would cost you like what, 10 US. An MRI cost me like 30 US, right? I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right? So yeah, so having the gold card and it enables you to be enrolled into the national health insurance program, right? Which is a huge it's a huge safety net, right? Being in a foreign country. So you don't have to buy expensive foreign insurance plans, right? You are you're taken care of here, right? And even every year you get a free dental treatment, right, on the house, right? So that's why the NHI, it's a very precious program to me here in Taiwan, right? So yeah. So any more questions? I'm happy to answer.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, you guys can just follow up with Darren directly. I think he will provide more in detail on all the solutions and all the information about Taiwan and the South Asia countries to you guys. Okay, next up is we would like to welcome and the second speaker, Lancy. Lancy, maybe you can. I will let you spotlight. Remove the spotlight from Darren. Okay, so let me tell you a bit more about Contact. Contact is a B2B platform, and they are helping different countries to test their products in Asian markets. They, with 20 years experience in products innovations, and their teams have finished the knowledge barriers and culture differences. Today, Dr. Lancy Pan will share with us her insight on how to overcome these challenges and help international brands or startups to gain and maintain the competitive edge in Asia. Okay, so please welcome Dr. Lancy Pan.
Thank you, Edward. Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy. Thank you for joining today's session on global business expansion. I'm excited to present some insights from Contact Insights Limited, a Vancouver-based company with over 20 years of experiences in user research, product market fit strategies, and helping Western companies successfully enter the Asian market. Today's focus is on using Taiwan as a strategic gateway for expansion into Southeast Asia. We will discuss how to successfully navigate the business and cultural landscapes of the region to help your ventures thrive. Normally, when thinking about expanding your business into a new market, it means you likely have a successful product in your local market. Product market fit refers to the point at which your product is fulfilling a strong market need, and you've validated that customers are not only interested in it, but willing to pay for it and adopt it as part of their lives or business. When a company reaches this stage locally, it's a sign that your product resonates well with the target audience. And the business has likely refined its messaging, pricing, and distribution channels. But the question remains, does the same product market fit directly translate to a new market, especially one as diverse and culturally unique as Southeast Asia? Also, business will worry about if there will be huge cost to explore a new market. This is where Contact Insights Limited steps in. We can help find out if your product is valuable in the world's emerging market without breaking your bank. Expanding into a new market requires adapting the product market fit to meet the culture and business nuances of that region. What works in one country may not necessarily work in another due to differences in customer behaviors, preferences, regulatory environments, and even economic structures. For example, if you achieved product market fit in North America, your product has likely been shaped by local customer expectations, whether that be through convenience, certain price points, or ease of access. However, Southeast Asia's market have their own complexities. From mobile-first preferences to relationship-based business cultures, the factors that define product market fit in this region could be quite different. Contact Insights has extensive experience in user research and product testing within Asian markets, ensuring that business don't just replicate their local success, but tailor their product for regional specific needs. We conduct thorough graphic research to understand how people engage with products, what their pain points are, and what drives purchasing decisions in markets like Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam. By helping you identify these factors, Contact Insights enables you to adjust your product's value proposition, design, and marketing strategy to ensure seamless market entry and sustained success. So while expanding to a new region is an exciting opportunity, achieving product market fit in Southeast Asia is about localizing your approach without losing the core of what made your product successful. Now let's have a little bit taste of adapting to business cultures in Southeast Asia. When we think about expanding into a new market, one of the most overlooked challenges is culture adaptation. Southeast Asia is a region rich with culture diversity, spanning countries like Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia, each with its own customers and business etiquette and social values. One of the key insights from Contact Insights work in these regions is the central role of relationships in business. In places like Vietnam and Indonesia, business isn't just transactional, it's personal. Decision-making often happens through networks of trusted relationships, and it takes time to build that trust. At Contact, we help companies navigate those relationship business process through user research and local partnerships. We've worked with clients like Google and Airbnb to establish the strong foundations for success by understanding local business dynamics. Southeast Asia culture often follow hierarchical structures in business. In countries like Thailand and Malaysia, seniority is highly respected, and business decisions are typically made by the most senior leaders. It's essential to recognize who the key decision makers and adjust them with the appropriate respect. At Contact, we conduct ethnographic research and user testing to help Western companies understand these dynamics. This not only speeds up decision-making, but ensures that companies don't stumble into cultural misunderstandings that can harm business relationships. Business negotiations in Southeast Asia can take time. Unlike the quick, direct negotiations you might be used to, discussions in Southeast Asia often involve multiple meetings, careful diplomacy, and a lot of patience. Our experience working with companies like Ford and Siemens has shown us the importance of taking a long-term view, invest in the relationship, and the deal will follow. So another aspect is strategies for platforms in Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia is a digital powerhouse with a booming e-commerce, fintech, and digital services market. However, for companies to succeed here, their platforms need to be tailored to the regional specific technological and cultural landscape. With over 90% of internet users accessing the web through mobile devices, Southeast Asia is mobile first. If your platform isn't optimized for mobile, you will quickly lose transaction. Contact Insights help companies develop mobile-first strategies by conducting user research on local mobile behaviors and preferences. will help brands like Meta understanding how to design digital platforms that resonate with Southeast Asia consumers. Whether it's user interface design or integrating local payment system, our expertise ensures a localized experiences. Credit card usage is low in several Southeast Asia countries, with digital wallets and cash on delivery being the preferred payment methods. Platforms need to integrate popular local payment options such as GCash in Philippines, OVO in Indonesia, or even regional super apps like GrabPay. At Contact, we work with our clients to localize their payment systems, making sure their platforms align with the regional payment infrastructures. By offering flexible payment solutions, companies can reach a broader audience and increase user engagement. One of the fast ways to succeed in Southeast Asia is to partner with established local platforms. Contact Insights facilitates partnerships between Western companies and local players, helping our clients integrate seamlessly into the Southeast Asia digital ecosystem. We provide strategic insights into how these partnerships can accelerate market penetration and scale rapidly. So here's some of our case study from past clients' projects. One of our client is Momax. It's a company known for their smart technology products with the slogan, "Keep life moving," aim to understand how consumers across different regions receive their product packaging. This is crucial for ensuring that their power bank packaging aligns with the preferences of their target markets, especially in regions like China, Hong Kong, the Middle East, Taiwan, Japan, and Korea. So I guess some of the results from the survey will help the company calculate. This image reveals that now 83% of respondents across all regions preferred color printed packaging, while only 17% favored raw paper. This data indicates that consumers generally prefer colorful, visually appealing packaging over more eco-friendly raw paper designs. China and Hong Kong showed the highest preference for color-printed packaging, with 90% and 78% respectively. The second image highlights the factors consumers consider when choosing packaging. Information on the packaging ranked as the most important factor across all regions. So this is the factors that we asked users to compare. And so the other is the regions we are targeting. So our clients is targeting to enter into the new market. Eco-friendly and the technological innovation ranked lower, indicating that while sustainability is valued, it's not a primary consideration for packaging choices in these regions. And the third image shows additional packaging factors, each of opening with the most important feature across all regions. Durability, touch and feel, and minimalism also stood out as key considerations, while waterproofing and portability were of secondary importance. Through this survey, Contact Insights helped Momax MOMAX gain a clearer understanding of regional preferences for power bank packaging. The data highlights the importance of attractive and informative packaging, with eco-friendly being a lesser, though still notable concern. This insights allow MOMAX to tailor their packaging strategy to different markets, ensuring that they not only meet local consumer expectations, but also stand out in a competitive marketplace. This survey is part of the first round of product market fit exploration for MOMAX in regions like Taiwan, which the company considers as significant market destinations. Another case study is our project with Meta. Contact Insights played a key role in conducting remote research to explore the needs of Indian users around social media avatar creation. Meta, known for its vast global influence through platforms like Facebook and Instagram, is constantly seeking ways to enhance user experience by localizing features and tools. The goal of this research was to gain a deeper understanding of how users in India engage with social media avatars, which are personalized digital representations of individuals used in virtual spaces and interactions. One of the primary insights from the research is that Indian users value avatars that reflect their culture identity. We can see from these images, it's pretty Indian, right? In India, where social media is while social media is widely used, individuals are most likely to engage with avatars that allow for customization based on traditional clothing, skin tones, and hairstyles, representative of these diverse cultural backgrounds. The project images clearly show that avatars are influenced by Indian culture aesthetics, making them more relatable and attractive to the users. Through user research, exploratory research, and concept testing, Contact helped Meta gather these insights and validate concepts related to avatar creation. The research involved remote interviews, concept testing with users, and exploratory surveys, all focused on understanding how users in India interact with avatars on social media platforms. The results of this research give Meta a clear roadmap for localizing their social media features in India, ensuring that avatars resonate well with the culture and emotional needs of the users. Those insights can also help Meta fine-tune the user experiences and improve the engagement metrics across its platforms in India. In summary, entering Southeast Asia isn't just about having a good product. It's about understanding the culture and adapting your strategies accordingly. Southeast Asia is a line of vast opportunities, but success requires a careful balance of culture understanding and localized digital strategies. Thank you for your time.
Very much from Nancy. So yeah, I think both Darren and Nancy shows us how important is the market research and market product fits that we have to conduct before we enter to the Southeast Asia markets. So yeah, so the platform is open for anyone to ask questions about Darren's and Nancy about their point of view and their suggestions. So anyone who have questions, you can just type in on chat box, or you can just raise your hands or open your mic, then you can ask questions. Okay, I got question from one of the audience who left already. So this is a question for Darren to answer. So he asked, how ready is the online service for Taiwan governments and the banking system? Because right now people may be moving from one country to another country. So you mentioned that they're using the stamp, right? So how ready is people can use online to do all these transactions? Yeah.
Well, okay. Banking services are there, right? So you can use the online banking. It's there. However, when you're talking about the contracting process, even today, right? For me, it's a painful process where a lot of paper documentations are still the norm, right? And if you're looking to work with established big businesses, right? Paper contract and having the stamps is still very important. And usually it's like 2 copies that we stamp it on our side, and I'll mail it over to you. You stamp it, send it back to me. So we all have a copy. So it's still old school in that sense, but think of it as a hybrid model, right? So anything else can be done online, but there are certain limitations and restrictions to that, right? So if we're talking about just the banking system here, it's very old school sometimes. Like the daily limit, it's really low. And if you want to do like a foreign transfer, you need to physically go to the branch to get an approval first, right? To put in the recipient as an approved recipient before sending. And receiving money, sending money, especially from foreign currencies, right, is a controlled thing. So they will ask questions. They'll actually literally call you up and ask you questions like, why are you receiving money? Why are you sending money? Who's this? What's the purpose, right? And to be fair, it's not that the banks are old school or they refuse to use technology, but it's just the what's that called? We call it the 金管会, which is like the Financial Security Commission, right? They are very particular on that. But I think it's going to change, because I think that the legislators are getting old and retiring. So for us, we are hoping that when the younger people get in power, right, there are changes. But there definitely are changes right now, and there are changes that cannot be avoided or ignored, right? So example, Uber was illegal here in Taiwan, like literally illegal. So their office actually got raided, right, by the tax bureau in Taiwan. They got shut down, right? It's because, right, the way that vehicles they are not being insured properly. So Uber didn't care. They just did what they have to do, right? So they were actually operating illegally here in Taiwan. And I think in Hong Kong, there's the same issue as well, right? Because previously, I understand that as well. So Taiwan, just think of it as a hybrid model, right? There are things that have to be done physically, in person, and paperwork, but most of the communication can be done totally online. So it's a hybrid model. So think of it like that.
Very much, Darren, for your sharing. So there is another questions for Lancy. So in your presentation, you mentioned that there is some human-to-human relationship that in China we call it 关系, right?
Yeah.
So we know that it is very difficult to pass through. So and it is really difficult to find the reliable sources when we're doing the market research on doing the market product fits. So how content can help us to go through these difficulties? Yeah.
Oh, originally I'm based in China, in Beijing for like 30 years. So during our 20 years experiences, it's really very hard for us to build a trust in local market, but still we successfully during these years we're trying to build our own network, and even with build up the platform to recruit users locally. Now, even from not only from China, but also from Southeast Asian markets and the whole Asia market. So through this way, we can find through our own network to find a reliable users for our clients to do user research or even user testing.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems that there is no more questions from the chat box and online. And so I think both Nancy and Darren have left their contacts on the chat box. And we will also record this video and we will put it on our social media, and we share with all you guys. So you guys can maybe look at it and after this webinar. And you guys have, if you guys have any questions, you can just directly email to speakers, and also you can email to me. So I will help to pass the questions to the speaker as well. So yeah, thank you very much everyone for joining today. So I know it's pretty late in Taiwan, so thank you very much, Darren, for staying for so late to introduce the Taiwans and the South Asia to us. Yeah, so I hope everyone have a good weekend, and we will see you next time.